Hey guys, it's Krystal Lee Lucier here, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor, Krystal Lee Moore, and I am so happy you're here. This is Realtor Life, and this is a very exciting year already, 2026. Um, let's just hop right in, guys. Okay, so as we've kind of like as an entrepreneur, depending on how long you've been an entrepreneur, you notice that there are times when you really need to like dig in and get that motivation. January is a little different because we have that, like we're riding the momentum of the excitement of goals and the newness of January. I was on a really cool networking call with some colleagues this week, and we were actually talking about the difference between like a resolution and a goal, right? So a lot of people are like, I find like resolutions are more negative and goals are more positive. So like a resolution is like, I'm not going to blah, blah, blah. And a goal is like, I am going to blah, blah, blah. So maybe your resolution is that you are not going to drink, right? So like a dry January. But your goal could be, I want to be healthier by February 1st. And I'm going to do that by taking alcohol out of the mix. See, it's a little bit of a shift, same result. Well, maybe a better result with the goals because I think there's some studies that say, I think there's like a scary day, like something like January 5th. I'm so sorry, I'm gonna have to fact check this, but there's a day that's really close to January 1st when people typically give up on their New Year's resolutions. So the goals, though, can keep you going. So today we're going to be talking about business networks, referrals, LeadTribes, and the AREN course or the Accredited Real Estate Negotiator course with the nature of real estate. So let's get started. Okay, so business network. Now, not everyone knows my story. I tell it a lot, but chances are you may not know it. So when I look at my career. So I've been a realtor for 15 years in three different cities, and I've effectively had to start my business from scratch three times. Basically, the first time I was a realtor part-time in Ottawa while I was also working at a law firm. Pretty busy job, and then kind of getting my feet wet in real estate. And I was doing okay at it considering the fact that I was working a full-time, pretty demanding job. Then I moved to Guelph, Ontario, and I thought I would just crush it. I thought Ottawa, like I did it part-time, I'm going to come here to Guelph and I'm just going to be on fire. I wasn't because I didn't know anybody. And that is the secret of a successful real estate business. It's your network of clients, your sphere of influence, your circle of influence, whatever you want to call it. It is the people that you know. So people have to know you. That's number one, like you and trust you. But if they don't know you, if you don't even get out the door on number one, you are in trouble. So what I did in the first 8 months, I did not just like say something. 8 months it took me to sell my first house in Guelph. But in that 8 months, I learned so much. It was really good. I started going to networking groups. So what you might find when you're new to business or if you're trying to expand, you're going to see a lot of networking groups. And let me save you some time. So, networking groups are great if they're done properly, and networking is great if it is done properly. So, when I first started going to networking groups, I was so tired. It was exhausting because I felt like I was having to kind of prove myself over and over and over and over to people. And I was like trust me with your clients. I would love to help you. I'm a realtor. And like it was just so tiring. And what I realized is I was kind of just like talking about me to people that didn't know me. So honestly, like not in a mean way, but they also didn't really care if I was a great realtor because they're like, who are you even? Then I read this little book that had been recommended to me so many times. I wish I'd read it sooner, called How to Win Friends and Influence People. So I read the book. It is game changer. It is a game changer. So, a few things. Number one, spend more of your time asking questions to people and listening to their answers than you are talking about you. Okay, gold. Also, it's less tiring. Learn people's names. So, when I was in university, I used to almost have like a point of pride that I have a pretty unique name. My name is Krystal with a K and a Y. So it was people would remember my name and I would kind of credit it to that I have a unique name. And I was like, oh, I don't remember names. So people would be like, hey, Krystal. And I'd be like, hey, you. And that's fine, but that doesn't really make people feel special. And so in the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, the writer points out that the main thing that someone loves is the sound of their own name. It's their favorite word. And so if you can imagine someone saying, "Oh, I don't remember names," and you're trying to build this rapport with people, it can be really tough. So one of the things I did immediately is I started learning different ways to learn people's names. And so one of the things that I would do is start using it a lot at first. And I'll tell you, this feels silly. Like if you don't do it already, it is going to feel weird. And you don't want to overdo it to the point that you are kind of sounding fake, but you just use it while you're talking to them and then poof, you'll remember it. And I actually, so I, as you guys know, I do improv and we just had this exercise where we had to do a memory exercise. And not only did I remember everyone's names, I remembered like the item that they brought camping. That was the game. And it was really cool because I was like, okay, so the memory also gets better, right? So learning their names, asking them questions. And I think one of the things that people don't do, if you are going to network, so you can spend lots of time at a networking event, but let's say your average networking event is an hour and a half long, okay? 90 minutes. And let's say there's 10, 20, 30 people there. So you could talk to someone for half an hour. You absolutely could. But is that being fair to them or to you? Like you're basically hijacking the networking event and turning it into your own coffee meeting. So the networking event is more to connect, maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, but you are trying to connect with someone and then you can follow up later, right? Because there's a lot of people to meet. And so what I always try to do is you meet a few people, you kind of see who you connect with, and then you can set up a coffee after. So that's also what I was doing at the beginning that was so tiring. I was having these long conversations. But the thing is, unless you get to know someone, the whole time they're talking to you, they're kind of like seeing, is there someone else behind you that they're supposed to be talking to? So you don't have their attention, really. But at that coffee meeting that you can set up, you will have their attention. I'm going to get into the next thing you can do in 1 second, but back to how I messed up. Yeah, so tiring. And then I started going to these things. And what I started doing, and this actually wasn't in the book, but I recommend it highly, is we're always looking for referrals, right? Right? We love referrals. Please send me your clients. But in the Buffini system, they were talking about like business network and how can we support them. And so what I started to do is I started to see if there's a situation where I have to spend any money in my business, I would like it to be with someone that could actually send me business. The example that I had was, so this was like back in 2012, 2013. So, um, we could technically order cards from Vistaprint, but I had met a networking friend named Andrea. Now, Andrea had a printing company. Andrea's cards were probably like $10 to $15 more expensive than the Vistaprint cards. But I can tell you for sure, 100%, there's no chance that Vistaprint is sending me a client ever. Amazon's not sending you a client. Um, Home Depot is probably not sending you a client unless you start hanging out with the staff. Like, the thing is, like, can you make sure that if you're spending money, that you're spending it with local business, support local, build the business, and make sure they know that you're supporting their business and then build that relationship. Like, I feel so blessed that I have been able to sell homes with photographers and stagers and marketing people and baker, like a baker, all of these people that know that I go out of my way to help their business. Okay. I digress though. Back to me having a tough time selling houses. So I started using this new way of networking, and all of a sudden I would leave these places feeling energized. And even though I barely spoke, I just asked questions. people are like, oh my gosh, it's so great to get to know you. And it's so funny because they didn't get to know me, but they spoke more. So they felt like, anyway, it was really cool. And I noticed though, the more I would go to these networking events and networking groups, I didn't feel like I was able to make these connections because some people at the group would be just like handing out their card, being like, call me, call me, call me. I'm like, okay, but who are you? And then other people, like some people would just be there to socialize, and that's okay. Like you can socialize, but when I look at a business meeting, this is business time, right? So we can go for a social time later, we can book that in, but this is business time. So we need to have a business meeting. So it's kind of like you want to guard your time, but make sure that when you are spending time together, you're actually helping each other's businesses. Now, the other thing, so you really want to try your best to support if you can. So that's my number one rule is that if I know you in business and I can support you, I will. So financial planners, I always try and invest a little bit with them for social media marketing, right? I have help from Merlot Moon Marketing and it's amazing. Like she helps me with my social media. A big piece of that though is that like I do have opportunities to go another direction with social media, but I really love supporting her and I love supporting her business and she supports my business, right? So it's very much like reciprocal. Things like I'm just trying to think of other business, like someone had a business where they're selling water bottles and someone else was selling like Arbonne, insurance, real estate lawyer, and mortgage brokers. Like I'm always doing my best to try if I can to support. Now, here's the thing that with networking groups that I'm about to change your world. So if you join a networking group, if someone in that group buys so if we're talking real estate, buys a house from you or sells a house with you, or with mortgages, uses you, or with marketing, uses you, or with promotional products, buys stuff from you, that is a bonus. That is not why you're sitting in the group. And where we run into trouble, and especially you can tell with newer entrepreneurs and newer people, they're trying to sell to everyone at the table. And a networking group is more like, here's my network, here's your network. We're going to combine them. So now in my network and your network, we know a bunch of people that the other person doesn't know. So we're going to connect, right? So the goal is actually to grow the network and give more opportunities for business. The goal is not to sell to the people around the table. If you do, which I have, and I'm sure other people have, then that is a bonus. But that is not the goal of the networking group. And I find like I've been running networking groups for 10, 12 years. And the number one reason someone will leave a group like frustrated is because they thought they could sell to the group and they just don't think it's doing anything for their business. A networking group will do what you want it to do for your business. I'm in this really cool group, which is full of business owners. And it's a bit of a tricky situation because I don't have always the same opportunities that other people have in this group. So what I do is I spend a lot of time doing one-on-one connections. So one-on-one coffees, one-on-one calls. I send them notes. If there's ever an opportunity to be like in a trade show or to show people that I'm supporting them, I'm all in. And it works. Like it is slowly working, which is pretty cool. So that is for business network. So if you're a realtor listening or a mortgage broker, I will say we are the hardest seat to get in a networking group because they're the first two seats that go. And most of these groups, you can have one person, just one. So if you cannot find a group, create a group. Because the thing is, people, like if you have that leadership skill, like I have the leadership skill, and so that's why I run groups because people want to be in a group. They just may not be able to run a group. And so you can be that person that really helps. Like it's amazing. And if you do create your own group, you just really want to make sure that you're getting people that are referral minded, right? So what we're looking for always are people that are committed to helping the other people around them. That's all. It sounds easier than it is, really, because there are going to be people out there that don't really care about referrals and they're just like, they want you to give them business and that's great. Or they're just like, I'm going to be cold calling all day. But the referral business side is way less stressful because you're getting clients that are actually like they already come trusting you, which is kind of cool. Okay. So then we go into referrals. So referrals are kind of the bread and butter of working by referral. It's in the name. But what is a referral? And how can we get them and how can we ask for them? Because the thing is, like, so I spend a lot of time teaching people kind of how to spot a referral, how to give a referral, how to get a referral. Um, and what do you do when you get a referral, right? So let's talk really quickly. Real estate referrals are amazing because if you're a realtor listening, we get paid for our relationships. So we send a qualified referral to a colleague. As long as I mean, you need paperwork, but really you just need ethical people. So if someone sends you a referral, send them a referral fee. Do not burn bridges like that. But at the end of the day, you just want to make sure. So if you send someone a referral or they send you a referral, number one is you acknowledge and you get in touch with that referral ASAP. The second thing you do is you send a thank you to the agent that sent the referral. You send a thank you card, a gift, a gift card, whatever it is, like 10, 15, $25. That's kind of the what you're thinking. And you do it as soon as you get the referral, whether it turns into anything or not. Right. So Buffini talks about this all the time. We are rewarding and applauding and being grateful for the behavior of sending a referral your way. And then we try to knock it out of the park with the referral. We're going to treat them very well. We're going to help as much as we can. We're going to keep the agent that referred updated and we are going to be excited for future referrals and we're going to try to send them referrals in the future, right? So there's a whole bunch of stuff kind of going on, but the biggest thing is you want to make sure you're thanking the referral and then make sure that you get them that referral fee. And there's no set fee. It's usually 25%. Some people will try to make it higher. Some people will offer to have it lower, but that the usual is 25%. Um, you should talk about that, kind of make sure that someone's okay with that. It's rare. I've only had one person ever try to kind of be unethical in that way, and it wasn't directly to me, but I did see it, and it made me question whether I'd ever want to send that person a referral. So just remember, like, this is a game where your name is everything. So ethical, honest, trustworthy. These are the pillars, friends, and you don't want to let them go. So that's real estate referrals. The other untapped kind of resource is business to business referrals. What does that look like? Very much the same. So we are thanking the referral. We are sending a gift card. We're sending a gift. We're sending something. Sometimes I do flowers. People love flowers, PS. But sometimes I'll do a gift card. Sometimes I'll send brownies from Send Out Cards. And shout out to Albert Yu because I sent him a referral and he did the same thing that I do with the brownies. So it was nice to get them. They're delicious, by the way. But the thing is, like with referrals, there's different ways to do them. So you could I don't recommend it. You could just let someone know that they should talk to Bill, or give them Bill's card. You could. I will say Bill will appreciate it. He'll say thanks, but it's not really helpful because he has no way to track that referral. And the people may never call because they don't really know Bill. They only know you. So what I do, I recommend doing it. I love it when people do it to me. An email introduction. It's gold. So I just did this for my client. Okay, so he just bought his first house, needs a painter. Cool. So I send him two painters that I know. Two separate emails. Connection for a painter. Hello. I sent him to CertaPro Paint and to Jessica's Painting in London. So sent two email introductions and because he wanted a couple of quotes. So I'm like, here you go, here you go. A little blurb like, hello, wanted to introduce you. This is all about my client. He's fantastic. This is what he needs. This is about the painter. Oh my goodness, pardon me. This is about the painter, blah, blah, blah. Please connect and let me know if you have any questions. I will follow up. Okay. And then my information is at the bottom. Why is this important? So, number one, we want the painter, we want both painting companies, CertaPro and Jessica's Painting, to know Krystal Lee Moore supports them both. Okay. So, supports you, and I'd like to give you an opportunity to talk to a client and potentially get some business. Number two, my client sees that I have a really extensive network, and both people feel good because I've said something really nice and true about both of them. So my client gets the email. He doesn't have to stress out about keeping a card and figuring it out or making that first call. I just did it for him. And then the referral is like amazing. So I've already laid the groundwork. Now, here's where it gets a little messy. When you get that referral email, reply to it right away and try to flip it into a phone call. Okay, sometimes I add the phone numbers in too. It really depends, but create a dialogue right away. Don't wait. Don't send like a thanks so much for referring. Hey, give me a shout. No. Thank you so much, Krystal, for referring. Client, what is the best number I can reach you at? I'd love to chat with you about this and get you that quote. Okay, right away. Quick, easy. Boom, boom, boom. Then the client's able to say, oh, thank you so much. Here's my number. Would love to talk. Done. Now you get as the referrer, you get the goodwill forever because it's an email of being the connector. Both people are appreciative, and you may have actually helped someone in your network get business and helped your client. Like, boom, knocked it out of the park. It's so good. And I've done it. I do it with, like, I just did it today for HVAC maintenance. I did it yesterday for 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Like, it is cool. And you are actually like building all this goodwill because not only, it's not just someone saying, oh, like, I gave your card. It's like solid evidence that here I am supporting you. So if they have an opportunity to support me, do you think they will? Absolutely, they will. And that's kind of how I've built my entire business. And I did say 3 cities, and I've only mentioned 2. So I built this whole business in Guelph. I did it. I was there from 2012 until 2019. Okay, so build, 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 build. And I was doing really, really well. People have heard my story on Stage MO Mondays, but basically I moved to Guelph without a big plan. I wanted to get out of Ottawa, was not thinking straight, made some very questionable decisions about my living situation. And there I was in Guelph, Ontario, didn't know anybody. But even though I didn't know anybody, I built this awesome business. I started winning awards. I had this great network. It was amazing. I'm like, I'm never moving, especially for any questionable decisions or anyone. But then uh, that old saying, if you want God to laugh, tell him your plans. Okay. So then I met the man who would become my husband. And he's also a networker, which was pretty cool. But then all of a sudden, I found myself in 2019 in the summer moving to London, Ontario. And I had to start it all over again. But I had a real estate coach at the time. And my coach I was like, oh, I've got to do this all again from scratch. And he's like, you don't have to do it all from scratch. And I said, what are you talking about? I don't know these people. And he's like, no, but you already have the Krystal Lee Moore blueprint. You already know how you can be successful because you know what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And now you just pick up that blueprint and you move it into London and let's see what happens. Fun fact, it worked. It worked exactly the same way. I didn't even have a dip in my business. And it was amazing. And it's still amazing. And I love it. 6 years later, I'm super happy. That's the thing with the network, because not only do you get networking friends, you get to know that you are part of other people's success and they're part of your success. Like, it's ridiculously cool. Okay. Which leads me into LeadTribes. So if you're in Southern Ontario listening, you may have heard of LeadTribes. A friend of mine, Linda Walters, started this. Now, she told me about it 6 years ago. And 6 years ago, because the thing, LeadTribes runs almost identically, except they have a really good back end to what I already do, right? Like it's literally like a blueprint from my heart of networking. So she started this thing and was like, Krystal, like you're in London, this would be a great thing for you. And I remember saying, well, Linda, like, thank you, but I already do this. So, you know what? Like, let's keep in touch. Obviously, I'm so happy that you're doing this. I just don't think it doesn't make sense for me to do this because I'm already doing this. Cool. Fast forward to this year, and I have been running groups, but it's a lot of work, and I don't have the time or the capacity to make them really what I want, not the technology, not kind of all of the systems and all that fun stuff. So Linda and I connect again and we talk about the different groups that they already have. So there's about 10 groups in Southern Ontario, Southwestern Ontario, like Toronto, Burlington, Hamilton, Niagara, Durham, I think, Oakville, Toronto. So all these groups, and they're very much like the groups I lead. So there's one person per seat. There's a realtor, obviously, in every single one. There's a mortgage broker and other professionals. What makes this unique, though, is that the back end of it is very cool. So you can track referrals, there's learning opportunities, there's larger group networking opportunities for the entire group. So for all the Lead Tribe groups, you can get together all together a few times a year, but there's also ongoing chats. So think about the opportunity to be able to connect with other realtors and other mortgage people and other financial planners and lawyers in other cities that are nearby. Do you think that maybe some referral opportunities are going to come up? You betcha. So I'm really excited. So I basically just flipped my entire networking group that I run here into that group. And we're going to see who's coming along for the ride. Not everyone will come, and that's okay. I think there's also going to be an opportunity to meet some new people, but it really is the core of this is based on what I just talked about and what is near and dear to my heart, which is the referrals and the helping each other and the supportive side of it and the learning. Except this back end actually helps you track more and it helps you focus on like resources and personal development and accountability and making sure that we're attracting the people that can actually make every meeting like a learning opportunity and a mastermind so that you leave feeling renewed and recharged. Your business is going to thrive even more. And I don't know if you can tell, I'm kind of excited about this, but yeah, so LeadTribes, we're actually going to have Linda on as a guest and she's going to share a little bit more about it and we'll have a great dialogue. So I think you guys will really enjoy that. And speaking of cool guests, so I just did my AREN certification. So it's the Accredited Real Estate Negotiator course with Suze Cumming. Suze is the nature of real estate. That's her business. And she is spectacular. So she is such a cool person. She's also going to be a guest soon, which I'm really pumped about. So I liked it so much. I found out about Suze from one of my colleagues, Mimi, who I've been in a networking group with her, networking for like 10 years. And then also a little cross-pollination of cool things. Kathleen Black, so I started coaching with Kathleen Black and I'm loving it. So KBI, which is Kathleen Black International, also has a whole thing going with Suze. So I had kind of like from both sides, from Mimi and from Kathleen Black, basically being like, this is a cool course, you should take it. And I was like, okay. And then I did. And guys, it is a cool course. So check out the nature of real estate. They have the AREN course is 2 days, but they're 3 hours a day. So because Suze used to be a realtor, she gets it. She knows you can't spend 8 hours without like having some sort of real estate crisis, like afoot. So the AREN course is the 3 hours twice a day. Twice. Okay. See, you can tell. It's not edited. I'm very authentic. 3 hours a day for 2 days in a row. Okay, so that's what it is. It's pretty cool. And then because I loved it so much and I got my accreditation, I'm going back for more and I'm going to get the professional real estate negotiator course accreditation. And that one is 3 sessions of 3 hours. And I believe they are actually not back to back. So they are on different weeks. But take a look at the nature of real estate. Professional negotiators. So, like, we've all, I think, at this point heard of Never Split the Difference with Chris Voss. Pretty cool book. I was reading a really cool book actually that was put out by Harvard, or the negotiating person from Harvard. And it's really cool how it all layers on. And negotiating is an art form. And I think as real estate professionals or entrepreneurs at all, we really all should be professional slash expert level negotiators. And that's a skill that we can always be honing. So it was a really cool experience. I recommend it. Um, and I mean, yeah, you learn some fun stuff and you get to do role playing, which oftentimes, and it is kind of a bad thing about our profession, a lot of the times we're practicing in real life. So we don't sit there and practice our dialogues. We do it in front of clients and where the stakes are higher. And if you don't know what you're doing or you're not a strong negotiator, sometimes you can lose like money for your clients. You could lose a deal, you could lose a client, right? So there are a lot of different ways to really help people. And especially when we're in a time when emotions can run high, especially for sellers. And it's nice to find out some really like simple dialogue that Suze shared that can kind of diffuse that stress. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. And always a reminder, you can read books, even if you don't have time, 10 pages a day, right? So right now I'm reading Stedman Graham's book. It's called You Can Do It. You can read books. You can do it. No, Stedman Graham is best known for being Oprah's boyfriend. He actually addresses that in the book, but it is a really good book. It's a nice little guide on how to really live your best life, and I recommend it. So, yeah, so definitely a recommendation to do the 10 pages a day. It's really easy, and you can actually get through a book a month if you do it that way. Okay, so let's wrap this up, guys. So we talked about business networks and networking and kind of what to do, what not to do. Remember, use people's names, ask them questions, and that networking, that first meeting is to get each other's contact info, then book a coffee. Okay, you can spend a coffee time with someone. Don't do it with everyone. I would say pick a few people that you really feel a connection with because this is like you're having the coffee so you can build a business relationship that goes back and forth, right? So unfortunately, there are going to be people out there that are takers. You don't want to fill your circle with takers. You would like some reciprocity, right? You want to go back and forth. Important though, it's not about if I give you something, you must give me something. It's more I'm giving and therefore I will receive, right? So it's going to come back to you no matter what. You just don't always know how or where it's coming from, if that makes sense at all. So you give because you give. You don't give to receive. But I do promise you there is that like law of reciprocity. If you give, you will receive. Um, you just you might not get it from where you think you should or where you think you might. Referrals and why they're important and how to thank a referral. That's very important. And always be asking for referrals, right? So like one of the things, we're just going to circle back because I forgot to mention this. So when you're doing the referrals, yes, do the email, ask permission, confident about your referrals, and therefore only refer people that you've built some relationship with. Because here's the thing, there are two ways that you can kind of refer people. You can do it like, oh, so I met this real estate agent and do you think I could connect you guys? Like I could send an email maybe. Is it okay if I send an email to you and the realtor that I met? Like I don't know them that well, but can I do it? My goodness. Absolutely not. You can't do it. Like, no, thank you. Like, you know what? No, we're good. It's thank you. Versus, hey guys, okay, so I know that you've been talking about buying a house. I have a great realtor to connect you with. She is awesome. She is really passionate about what she does, and I really think that you guys would hit it off. Why don't I send you guys an email intro? You can chat and see how you hit it off. Like, see if you get along. You can ask some questions, but I really think this is a good fit for you. Is that okay? I'll send you guys like a group email And they'll be like, absolutely, thank you so much. Because you're doing them a favor by connecting them to someone awesome. They're not doing you a favor by accepting the referral. Does that make sense? I hope so. So, like confidence, and you want to feel confident about it. And the thing is, you're not saying, hey, you must use this person. You're saying, hey, I really think that you need to meet this person because I think you guys are going to hit it off. The decision to work with them is still with you. And P.S., the conversion of a referral to a client is completely the responsibility of the person that got the referral. If you send me a referral and I'm not able to like make it happen, that's on me. That's not your fault. Sometimes like I get calls sometimes like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that didn't work out. Like I thought you'd get it. Like I apologize." I'm like, "No, please don't apologize. You sent me a referral. That's a huge deal. Thank you so much." And you make sure that they know that you appreciate it. I'm going to tell you a really quick like tale of caution. So I sent a referral once to a I sent a referral to a realtor and then I also sent a referral to a contractor. So I sent them some friends of mine. And it turned out the friends thought they wanted work done, and then they changed their mind. Like in talking about it, they realized the scope of the work was going to be way too much. So they said, you know what, it's not going to work. No thanks. Didn't I get a phone call scolding me for sending such a horrible referral that didn't turn into any work? Mm-mm, guys, no, no, no. If you do that ever, even one time, you will never get a referral from that person again. And I will tell you confidently, I have never given a referral to that person again. More because I have no idea if someone, like, I'm connecting you. It is your job to get that deal. If you don't get the deal, that's not my fault. But I certainly didn't like that phone call. So I didn't like the fact that I don't know what kind of pressure my clients were put under in that meeting. So you just, it is not up to the person that is sending you the referral to make sure that that business is closing. That is up to you as the person receiving the referral. And the thing is, you just be grateful that they sent you anyone at all because they didn't have to. You're not the only person that does what you do. And so if someone's going to go out of their way to actually support your business, you just thank them. Yeah, I think scolding anyone in any way for a referral at any time is a bad idea. Don't do it. Like for any reason. It's just, it really puts a bad taste in people's mouths and you don't need that, right? Like I once had a realtor, I had sent two realtor options to my client and the client chose one and didn't choose the other. Fine. The one that they didn't choose had sent me a thank you, which was really nice. I'm like, thank you so much. Like a thank you card and a small gift card. When they found out that they worked with the other person, I got a very upset call saying that they didn't realize that I had sent two options to my client and they were really disappointed that I didn't give them the heads up. And in the future, I need to be better, basically. And that's fine. Like they're entitled to their opinion. But I remember just saying, like, that's not the feeling because they were in the same training I was in. That's not the feeling that you want to give someone that just sent you a referral. I've never sent them a deal again. And it's not holding a grudge. I just don't want that kind of energy, right? So you want people to be grateful that you're trying to send them business. And sometimes clients want a couple of options and that's okay, right? And like I say to that, I just want to be on the list, right? Then it's my job to try and win the business. If I don't win the business, okay, whatever. But thank you so much for thinking of me, right? Um, LeadTribes, I definitely say look it up. It's all one word, LeadTribes, and pretty cool. So if you're listening and you're in a city that's not on the list, like I know they're trying to open one in Guelph, they're trying to open one in Ottawa, but I mean Kingston could be cool, Belleville. So yeah, for anyone listening out there, the world is your oyster. It might be cool, and I'm excited to kind of report as things are going. I literally just signed up like this week. And then the very final things are the AREN and PREN courses with the nature of real estate. Recommend by the end of February, I will be a certified professional real estate negotiator, which I'm really excited about. I've done a lot with negotiation. I really have worked hard to hone the skill level that I'm at, but I love the accreditation. I'm a bit of an accreditation nerd, as people know. I love the degrees, I love the learning, and I think we're never too old to keep learning, and the learning journey is a huge part of the ride. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. Again, this is Krystal Lee Lucier, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor, Krystal Lee Moore. This is Realtor Life, and I am so excited to see you next time. Bye.